I promise if you give me a chance to give you some context, this story is so worth it. 24 hours ago, I was told by my current roommate that I was getting kicked out at the end of June, even though I moved in a month ago. Quickest backstory on me: I'm a full-time artist in New York City and I've always wanted to live here. I broke up with an abusive ex, quit my job, moved here with not a lot of money. Through all of last year, I've just been aching to find home. I felt like this place was it. My room faces a backyard, so I get to hear the birds. It has a rooftop and I can see the entire skyline. It's perfect. I have one roommate, and when I met them, it seemed like everything was fine. There was a verbal agreement we were going to be re-signing in July, and that was when I was going to join the lease. When I moved in May, her tone changed, and it felt like she started policing me over things that were so elementary. I'm about to turn 30. This person is mid-20s, but acting like they're in high school. She would not allow me to store things on the top 2 shelves in the cabinet because it, quote, stresses her out. When I moved in, I had a different dish rack than her, the one that has walls on this side. She just had a flat dish rack where she would just kind of awkwardly and haphazardly pile up the dishes. And I was like, hey, I've got this other dish rack. Would you be open to us giving it a try? Immediately, she shut it. My entire issue with her through this last month has just been her lack of compromising. And so a few nights ago, I received a text of her being like, please remember that the top shelf in the fridge is mine. I have just my gallon of milk stored up there in my creamer. Like, you can keep your milk here, but you need to move the creamer. And I was like, is there a reason why? Because you don't have that much stored on that shelf. She's like, because it's my shelf, that's why. And it was end of discussion. And I was too tired that night, and I deal with this in the morning because I need to say something. I wake up and I type out very long text. I spent over an hour working on it because I grew up in an abusive family, in an abusive relationship. I just overly analyzed all of my words because I was afraid of things being used against me. The last few months I've been working on that. I'm coming into myself and feeling more at ease and confident in all the things, but I can still really struggle with taking up space. Of course, I'm gonna have screenshots for you. This is exactly what I said. I have nothing to hide. She immediately came back with this, announcing that she was still looking for someone else to live with her. This is the first that I'm hearing of this. I thought everything was fine, besides her sort of hostile responses to me whenever I would bring something up as like a compromise, because that's what you do with roommates. We don't even interact. She has her own front door in her bedroom. She doesn't even come through the living room. I stay in my room most of the time. We're kind of on different schedules. I'm giving all of this context because the further that you get down in these messages, the weirder that the get. I got some tea from the girl who lived before me, and it gave so much context into some intuition that I had about my roommate, as well as what my role was in this scenario.
What's the context? And girl, why is every other word cutting off? I'm trying to get the plot, understand the story, and words is cut off. Words popping up on the screen. I gotta go back. Now, the first thing I noticed as she was talking is it says, I forgot to say I've lived in 5 different sublets in the last year, just bouncing around trying to finally get on a lease. Now, that is important. She didn't say that, but it is on the screen. The reason that's important to me is it signals something. And let's first all get on the same page of what a sublet is. According to Webster, the dictionary version of a sublet in verb form means to lease or to rent out part of a leased or rented property, while the noun version of the word means property, especially housing, obtained by or available through a sublease. So when she's saying she forgets to tell us she had 5 different sublets in the last year, in my opinion, red flags automatically going off. I'm not saying she did anything wrong. I'm not saying she is a horrible roommate, a horrible tenant. I don't know. I am saying moving around 5 times in the last year is alarming. Because why? And maybe she has valid reasons. Now, she says here, 24 hours ago, my current roommate blindsided me, saying I was being kicked out at the end of June with absolutely no prior notice, with me having moved in only a month ago.
You're gonna have to forgive me for... Okay, here we go. Immediate reaction was just despair and desperation, and you can see it in my response to her. It's like, are we for real? Did I do something that offended you? Because I really want to stay. I'm very happy here. Mental health is so much better. And it was funny seeing her come back with, really, you're happy here? Your text says otherwise. And it was like, what do you mean? My text is specifically about your communication style, how you're unwilling to compromise. I like having these LED lights on that cost $5 to $10 a year. She was like, I don't want to spend the money on it. It's like, then don't. I will pay extra. Con Ed is in my name. And she's like, I still don't want to. And it's like, okay. I have this bad habit of just rolling over to keep the peace. Look at the sun. I was in the park a few weeks ago. I saw a hawk capture a smaller bird and flew up into the trees, and I hear all of the little birds squawking around it.
Girl, what this got to do with the story? No lie. I'm like, am I listening to understand why the roommate situation didn't work? And then she started talking about the birds and the bees, and the birds in the trees, and the birds in the leaves. And who was concerned? Me, because relevance. But I'm gonna let her finish.
And it was very traumatizing. I absolutely sobbed watching the feathers float down. But I knew I was seeing that for a reason. Posted about it on my Instagram story, and some people responded being like, I don't care that, the hawk needs to eat, it's just not right. Nature is neutral. Hawks exist to balance the ecosystem so there isn't overpopulation. They aren't doing this to be evil. They're just existing. They're just eating. A couple of days ago, I was like, holy, I continuously keep the peace because it was never safe for me in the past to speak up, because when I did, I'd either get physically hurt, verbally assaulted, emotionally abused. Last few months, I've been really working on myself. I feel like I'm recovering a lot of that, and it is calming my nervous system. And that is what this place has given to me, is peace. And it was sort of one of those moments you're like, I either eat or I will continue to suffer and eventually by not taking up space.
Maybe I'm not deep enough. Maybe I'm not deep enough to understand what I am listening to. Is it just me? I feel like I'm on a roller coaster with the story, the storytelling.
I was on the phone with her old roommate, and her old roommate was giving me the tea on their dynamic. And you'll see in some of the texts, especially the one where she mentions that she would prefer to live with someone who is ethnic or POC. My response to that was like, I can't argue with that. I don't want to make someone uncomfortable. And everyone who was hearing about this was like, but that's racist for her to say. And I was like, I don't know. Like, I know that people have preferences, and like, I don't want to overstep. And the longer that I thought about it, it was like, but we don't even interact. What way is like having anyone else in your space going to be different? I don't even need to make sense of it, because that is not the reason why. It is because the person who lived here before me, she did not realize how much this roommate was mooching off of her. She would cook for them often, clean up after the girl. When I moved in, it's funny because I had a weird sense of, I feel like she is going to expect us to share food. And I find out that she used to share food with the roommate before me. And so when she found out that I wasn't going to be sharing my food with her, I think that must have been when it shifted. I wasn't doing her dishes for her. I've been in 5 different sublets. I just like to keep my to myself. I can coexist with someone. I'd love to be friends with my roommate. And so I shifted my energy, and I was sitting right here. So I was like, when were you going to tell me this? Because until I texted you, this is the first time hearing about it. Funniest thing was her just being like, well, it's not set in stone. I'm just looking. I was like, oh, but it has to be. It has to be set in stone. I could have been a week out from thinking that we were re-signing, and oh, surprise, actually not going to be living here anymore. I was like, I've been through this multiple times. I started looking for a new place in March. I also heard from my friend, it's like, it doesn't make sense that she's looking for 3 people. She's like, she isn't the one who looked for a subletter when I eventually found you. But she's like, I found this apartment, and she's kind of, I wound up being the one to leave and her staying. She was like, there was no mention of her preferring to live with someone ethnic or POC. She met you and said she thought you were cool. I get this text, what if you stay instead and I leave? I was so shocked at how quickly she folded. I posted about this on my Instagram stories, and I had like 50, 60 messages. And then I went to my friend's house yesterday to work. She wound up having one of her friends come over who is also a fan of Stray Kids, like I am.
I'm overstimulated. I haven't been this overstimulated probably since the haul videos that y'all love to do. They stress me out. The girl math videos, maybe. No, the blind box videos, maybe since then. Ma'am, you just said her friend came over that is also a fan of Stray Kids like I am. It's a lot going on. I don't know if I don't even know what's going on. I've never seen this. Girl, why did you get kicked out? And what is a Stray Kids, a Stray Cat? I'm sure it's a band, something eclectic. I don't know. That's just the vibes I'm getting from you. It's just a lot. And Stray Kids, I don't know anything about it. I think it's interesting the word stray is being used in this situation, being that she said she had to move about 5 times in the last year. Ma'am, what is going on here?
And then another friend showed up, and of course they're hearing all of the tea. They have all 17 screenshots, and then like her sister calls in and she's like, oh my god, do you remember my old roommate? Let me tell you about this. And then one of her friends called in who had like his random friend with, and it literally turned into the town crier. It's like not the whole village. Just felt so supported and seen by the universe. I am so powerful.
Seen by the look. I already know what we into now. Yep, that gave it away. That okay. Yeah, I'm officially confused. I don't even want to say what I'm thinking. I'm just gonna leave it at that. I'm just confused.
And magnetic, and I have been told by too many people that I'm not, and that I don't deserve to take up space. I don't deserve to eat. I deserve to eat.
Who told you that? Somebody told you should starve. Now that ain't right. That did they really tell you that? Oh my. Girl, the roommate story.
And I ate. That is literally what my friend said in the text after I told her about the hawk. She was like, "You're the hawk and you just got fed." I was like, yeah, we did. And so now we get to embark on a new journey. We'll either be finding a roommate or try to figure out a way to keep the place to myself. We shall see what happens. We shall see what comes for me. But until then, I continue to live my life so fully and express myself as loudly as I want. And I want a big life, and I know I will have it because I know I am light. I am love incarnate. We all have the capacity and the ability to have that. This person has the capacity and the ability to do that if she does the work. Accept a lot of from your past, accept about yourself, be very kind to yourself. This is a culmination of years, but definitely like the last 3 months, me working on myself and talking kindly to myself, doing mirror work, finding hairstyles and makeup and outfits that I love, making new friends, listening to myself, trusting myself, knowing I'm a trustworthy person. I didn't do anything to her. She dug this grave for herself. You started the morning saying that you were talking to 3 different people about signing the lease with you, and now you're the one moving out.
So she moved out? Ma'am, and girl, I almost got off this roller coaster ride. It was giving me a headache. It was just a lot. To be fair, it was a lot. I was just trying to understand what is going on with the roommate situation. Okay, so she left, and you're there.
That's karma. I'm your karma for over your last roommate. I did absolutely nothing to this person. I've been nothing but respectful. And I don't need to prove that to anyone else because I know the truth. I also have the receipts. You messed with the wrong in the wrong era.
Wait, what did she do to the last roommate, and why y'all cussing up a storm? Why is shots being fired? And what is up with all these bird analogies? It's too much. You got too many pop-up on the screen for me to go back and read. Now, I had to go back because one of the things that she said did stand out to me. This allegedly is her roommate. It says, "You've been happier living here? The text you sent me says otherwise. Please clarify. And to be honest, I would rather live with someone who's ethnic/POC, a person of color. I feel there's more of an understanding with how I live." Now, ma'am, that's an interesting thing to tell somebody. And she pretty much responded with, "I would really like to stay, but I also understand if you feel more comfortable with someone ethnic/POC. And I'm so confused, but you know what? Her alleged roommate has responded, and at this point, I just want to hear what was the problem?
A sublet I met about a month ago made a 30-part TikTok series about me, and I want to address a few things.
And ma'am, I didn't even get to 30. I was only on part 2, and I'm already stressed out. But I do want to hear what you have to say, because maybe she can give us better insight. Like, it was just a lot going on. It was the birds, the bees, the trees, the leaves.
We're gonna keep it short and straight to the point because 30? I genuinely don't know how any of this is my fault. You started subleasing a few weeks ago. A sublease is temporary by definition, meaning I don't owe you. You are not entitled just because you moved in. I feel like I gave you plenty of notice and time to make arrangements so that when you re-sign the lease, you won't be stressed out. You even admitted that you found someone within a day. The real issue is that the rent increased and now you need to qualify for the lease yourself. And that is not my problem. That's just how New York renting goes. I feel like that's how renting goes in any state. You have moved 5 times within a year. At this point, babe, there's a common denominator, and it's definitely not the people that you're subleasing from. I feel like at this point it's you. Throughout all your videos, there was a consistency of you talking about me, about my situation, my bills, my pay stubs, my proof of income, when in reality, I have a job. I pay my bills on time. I even secured my new apartment. I think you're projecting what you're lacking onto me. I feel like what's genuinely crazy is I never wished anything bad upon you. I really do hope you get approved for this apartment with your new roommate. What sucks is that you made 30 videos about me consecutively, wishing bad upon me.
Some things were definitely said. And I do think it's fair to point out subleasing or subletting 5 times in the last year is interesting. And I am curious why. Not only that, I truly feel some people don't work well with roommates. I'm not saying that's either one of their situations, but some people have roommates and they can be very controlling, or it can be a lot of animosity, and they can just bump heads and can get ugly real quick.
Saying I'm getting karma, calling me names, calling me out of my name. I don't even know you, babe, and you don't even know me. I just met you a month ago.
I'm just meeting both of y'all, and this is a lot. This is a lot.
Don't even know me. I just met you a month ago. Hello? I just feel like I'm getting dragged for choosing what's best for me and my future. She also started a GoFundMe. I'm gonna insert the GoFundMe right here.
What is the GoFundMe for? Lord have mercy. Okay. It says, oh, hi, I'm Ek. Okay. Oh, hi, I'm Ek. I've been a full-time artist in New York City for over a year now and have jumped through so many sublets trying to find home. I moved into my current place thinking I'd get to stay, but after a horribly traumatizing situation with my roommate now turned into dealing with slummy landlords, I'm at my breaking point and I need help. I'm not sure if I'm going to need to pay the entirety of rent for the month of July, if the landlord will even let me, on top of a security deposit, or if I'll have to move in literally a week. So much is uncertain and it's agonizing. I feel embarrassed to even do this because it feels like there's so many other better causes, but I have an incredible following on social media who wants to support. And so for anyone who asked, I'd love to open this up to receive the help. Please know there's no expectation to. I'm so grateful for all of y'all's support over the last year, especially those of you who've been buying my art. Thank you for believing in me. What I'm seeing here is at the time of when she screenshotted this, she raised $3,345 of the $5,000 that she was trying to get.
I'm gonna insert the GoFundMe right here so you can read it briefly. You didn't start a GoFundMe because you lost your job, you have medical expenses to take care of, or have hard times at this moment. You started a GoFundMe because you don't have the funds for the apartment. And instead of being honest about that, you're blaming me. People have asked you multiple times, why don't you get an actual job? And your response is always, I'm an artist. There is plenty of artists in New York City that still have regular jobs.
Now, this is the interesting part, because I was trying to understand, what is the problem? Why may she have been floating around the way she has? I'm not sure if it's because of lack of resources, and I understand that she's trying to live her life and she's an artist. That makes a lot of sense. But when it comes to landlords and being a tenant and things of that sort, a lot of the time they want to make sure that you got that, they want to make sure you got that dough. Where's the money? Where is the job? Where is the proof of income? Can you get them their money on time every month? Now, this lady here is saying, well, I had a job. I was good. But it seems like she's no longer there. But if the other woman actually doesn't have a job, this is where stuff can get a little sticky again. People typically don't like you being in their property without you paying up. Whether you're subletting or subleasing, or if you are a tenant, people want their money. The landlord probably has a mortgage to pay. And you know what? It kind of makes sense, because I was thinking to myself, why doesn't she just live by herself? But New York, to be fair, is really expensive. It's not odd for somebody in New York to have a roommate. You could have a roommate and still be in a cardboard box as far as size goes, because you're in New York. It's New York. Like, we know this, and it's expensive. But you know who it's really expensive for? Somebody who doesn't have a job. Now, to be fair, if the art actually generates enough money month after month, I think it's fair to say, okay, this is doing something enough for you to have a livable wage and have a secure place to pay your bills. But just piecing together what I'm hearing, this sounds like a very sad situation to be in. It sounds like her art may or may not be generating enough money for her to be stable. And according to what this lady is saying, perhaps there isn't a job to kind of offset that, you know? The art might be the thing she dreams about doing, but it may not be bringing in enough money. And I would never think that it's a bad thing to follow your dreams, but I think perhaps she could do both. You know?
Say that I am a nightmare roommate, blaming me for not wanting to re-sign the lease with you, which is crazy. I feel like if you started a GoFundMe that said, I can't afford rent right now, that's one thing. But because you switched the narrative and basically stated you are trapped in a traumatized, abusive situation with your roommate because I'm choosing to leave is completely different.
Is that what she did? I didn't make it to part 30. It was a lot going on. And I don't know if I want to go there. I don't know if I want to go back. Do I want to go back? I don't want to hear about the birds. Free the birds. Free the birds.
I feel like at some point you have to stop blaming other people for your circumstances that you are responsible for as a grown adult. And babe, you are 30 years old. You are a grown woman. Even I in my 20s understand the concept of how renting, how deposits, how moving, how all of that goes. If I can understand that and I take responsibility because I know the world doesn't owe me anything, I feel like you can do that as well. You're not getting evicted, you got the lease, and I'm moving out at the end of this month.
Wait, you still in the house? Y'all in the She could be at somebody else's house making this video, but if y'all are beefing between the walls, are you about to open the door and then see her? Is she gonna see you? Is that why she outside looking on the window, sitting on the window pane, giving her part of the story? And this is why I say, sometimes it's best that some people don't be roommates, because imagine beefing with your roommate and if they stick their ear to the wall, they can hear everything you say in the TikTok, and you done made a 30-part series and this lady is over here like, what? She hear the 30-part series before you even set it from draft to public onto TikTok. It's too much. I'm scared. What you got?
So a few days ago, I made a couple of videos talking about my roommate. If you don't know about this drama, just go watch the other videos, I promise. It's gonna give you the context that you need.
We did not get the context we needed from you, ma'am. I had to go outsource to the roommate in question to fully understand what is possibly going on. And she just posted that about 5 days ago. But let's hear whatever update she had here.
I unfortunately have an update for you. I should have known that she would try to pull something like this. I moved into a new apartment a month ago. I was on a 2-month sublease. It was verbally agreed upon we were re-signing together in July. It's okay if someone changes their mind. The issue is the reasons why were lies. Over this last week, I've been waiting for her to send photos of her room so I can make a post and look for my own roommate. She said that she would. Texted her yesterday asking when she was going to send the photos. Yesterday was Wednesday. She said, I'll send them on Monday. I'm like, it's like 3 photos. Why is it going to take you the entire weekend? And didn't give me a good answer, and I was like, that's sus. Maybe she is still looking for a roommate to fill my room here. She wanted to talk in person. I said no. I'm not comfortable with that, and I have every right to say no. I watched her try to bait me by sending this text being like, so do you have a problem with me? I'm not falling for that.
Y'all got too much going on here. It's a lot of back and forth. Y'all don't want to talk in person. Y'all don't want to talk on the phone. This is just very awkward. Y'all live together, and y'all were like texting like this when she had knock away. This is so this is interesting. Y'all really didn't mesh. It just didn't, it didn't work.
I have a narcissistic dad who I am now no contact with, and a narcissistic ex. I'm not stupid, and so I rediverted. Please just send me the photos as soon as you can. You should know she has already emailed the leasing office multiple times saying that she is not staying. Hello, and welcome to my fire escape. So she sends this.
And that's what I meant. She outside at the fire escape because her roommate probably came and she don't want the roommate to hear. This is what I was saying. She outside of the window. Yeah, y'all just weren't a good fit. And that's okay. That's okay. But now you sitting out here on the window pane and you ain't even singing a song. You just putting on makeup outside the windowsill. This is interesting.
Text. Just so we're clear, my plans aren't finalized yet. And if I stay, we're not renewing. Like, no. Last night was a bad night for me anyway. And I was like, I'm not even responding. Some people on my Instagram story responded and said that I was too stern in my text. And I was like, how? Because I am just talking logistics. She's wanting to have some heart to heart. Be vulnerable as a woman. I'm just asking for photos.
So this is where I gotta be honest. The first thing I seen is, are you home? I think we should talk in person. And she is outside using a literal fire escape, texting this other woman saying, no, I don't want to talk in person. Now, I was trying to understand who is the one that doesn't want to talk. It is the woman sitting on the dock of the bay, wasting time. Not the dock of the bay, sitting on the window pane, wasting time. Because, no pun intended, I just had to. I agree. Why not? Talk. Why? She says, I feel like there's so much I need to say and be vulnerable because texting is not helping me. And she says, there's literally nothing to talk about. I just need a few photos. And the other woman said, no, there is. She says, again, I do not want to speak in person. She said, I'm not trying to argue in person or nothing. As a woman, I just want to speak to you in a vulnerable, honest space. And then she replies with question mark, question mark. I'm literally asking you for a few photos of your space so I can make a listing. And I'm asking why it has to be until Monday for you to send them. What I'm really gathering from this is when it comes to roommates, I know a lot of people financially, especially in 2026, are looking for roommates. And I understand, especially somewhere in like New York, I think the vetting process must be stern. I don't know if the other woman knew. She moved about 5 times in the last year. I don't know if she knew that. I also don't know if they met before she moved in, if they got to see if they were a good match with each other. But the communication is very bad. It's very bad. Maybe she wanted to talk only through text for legal reasons, to have some sort of black and white, which I can understand. But this is very odd still, to a certain extent.
So I can make a listing. I think she's doing this intentionally with my mind and joy and peace, and I'm not going to let her do that. At the moment, I have no idea if I'm actually going to be able to stay or not. I don't know if I should start looking. I mean, obviously, I'm going to be looking just in case. My friend thinks she doesn't even have the money to qualify to live here. You know, it would be really fantastic if I somehow come into just a ton of money where I could just take over the entire lease myself.
What's interesting is her roommate posted that other video 5 days ago, and she posted this about almost a month ago. So she is like, you know what, it'd be cool if I got a large amount of money, and she ended up doing the GoFundMe in that time. The thing is, the GoFundMe is very useful. Don't get me wrong, for when people have emergencies or they're down on their luck. And people chose to donate to this lady. That was their choice. Many people might not agree. But the thing about donations is when you're donating to people, I think once a goal is reached, you then must say, how can this be sustainable long term? Like a lease with a landlord needs consistent income every month, month after month. And what unfortunately happens with a lot of people who use GoFundMe is they'll post a goal and they'll reach the goal, and then there's another GoFundMe up because they weren't able to sustain whatever lifestyle or cost of living that they were looking to achieve with the GoFundMe. And that would make sense because the GoFundMe is for a specific goal. I'm not sure if GoFundMe is for your rent. Now, there might be other platforms where people can donate and help out a creator or an artist that actually might be enough for your rent every month. I'm just not sure if that's what GoFundMe is for, you know? GoFundMe? And y'all let me know. There's people paying their rent with just GoFundMe month after month by saying, hey, I need some more money. I thought it was for special circumstances.
Have updates. Join me on my...
Ma'am, you better not be crawling. Where your shoes at? Where are the shoes? Why are you climbing through this window every couple of videos telling us this story? Is this... And free the birds, because they chirping outside. They chirping during this whole video. Just chirp, chirp, chirp. Free the birds. You done freed the feet. And she says here, join me on my fire escape. I'm not ready. This is a lot.
Fire escape. If you don't already know, for the last 2 weeks, I've been dealing with not knowing where the I'm gonna be living at the end of this month because my roommate's like, I don't want to live with you anymore. And it turned into a whole thing. I made several videos about it. And then she was like, how about you stay and I'll leave? A week and a half goes by and she changes her mind again. Says that she's staying and oh, FYI, we're not re-signing the other. And so for the last like 3-ish weeks, there's just been this tumultuous up and down of me not knowing where the I'm gonna be living, if I need to start packing, should I be looking for a roommate here, should I be looking for a new place. I haven't been able to get in contact with the landlord all of this week. The last I heard from them was on Monday.
Let me read some of these comments. It says, it's weird. To me, you signed a 2-month lease and just expect it to stay permanently. Others saying, you are exhausting. Look, I'm just reading the comments, y'all. I'm exhausted with the storytelling. I can't confirm if she is exhausting, but this is exhausting. Others saying, it was only a 2-month sublet. Should have already been looking. Another comment saying, the way she climbs out to set up the camera and then climbs back in to film herself climbing out. Yes, what I mean, like the level of like, it's too much going on. Dressed. Another comment saying, you kept saying roommate, you're subletting, it's her apartment. And that is true. She was on the lease. Like, you know when you go sign a lease in the leasing office and you're the one like, yeah, I'm going to make sure everything is good, and you're paying the landlord? That's essentially what her roommate did. And then her roommate was looking for someone else to join in on the lease, you know, because likely New York is expensive. And in some rental cases, you can do that. But I do want to point out that you can't always do this. I know a lot of y'all are like, how is this even possible? Sometimes your landlord will allow it. Other times they won't. If you get caught doing some stuff like this, you're violating the terms of your lease. A lot of landlords want to know exactly who is in their property, nobody else. And I just want to point that out because depending on your lease agreement, this cannot even be an option for many people. But essentially, whatever was agreed upon for the person who subleased or like did the sublet with you is what was agreed upon. If 2 months was what was agreed upon, that's what it was, you know? Which is why a lot of people are saying, Miss Girl, she doesn't owe you anything. You signed a sublease, and saying you're not on the lease. The reason I feel this is working in the other woman's favor is because she probably went to the leasing office or to her landlord and said, hey, there's a woman there. She wants to stay. See if she qualifies to take over, and then I'll just move somewhere else. And that's fine as long as everybody's okay with it. She seems happy there. The other woman sounds like she wants to be out. The landlord just wants somebody to pay the rent. The problem here is GoFundMe can only get you so far. And that's the big thing I'm hearing in this story is the inconsistency with the income. I don't know if she will find someone and they can make the rent work every month. And I'm wishing her the best. I'm also wishing the best for the other woman in the situation who seems like she is leaving.
I feel so angry right now because I'm looking around at my room. I love my room. I've lived in 5 different sublets since moving to New York City over a year ago. And of all the rooms I've lived in, this is my favorite. And I'm looking around and it's like, this is all of my stuff. And it gets incredible light and it faces the backyard so I can hear the birds. It has a fire escape. It has a rooftop where I can see the skyline. I like the neighborhood. It's big enough so I can keep my art shop stuff here and have my desk. I'm just like, I might lose all of this because of my roommate being a and I'm at my breaking point because I asked her at the end of May who was staying and who was leaving. She didn't want to re-sign with me. She said that I was going to be staying, and she emailed management and let them know on May 28th that she was leaving. Yesterday, June 8th, she texts me and is like, FYI, I'm going to be staying and we're not re-signing together. So even though I asked you over a week and a half ago what your plan was and you committed to it, you committed to leaving, you're now changing your mind and me over to where I need to go look for a new place while also still figuring out if I can even stay, because I signed a sublease with the landlord, not her, so I don't even think she can do this. I've also lived here for longer than 30 days, so I have tenant rights. I've called 311. I'm trying to get in contact with the landlord again and I can't get a hold of them. I haven't heard from them since yesterday morning. I can't get any clear answers and I just keep getting emotional looking around my room. I'm just like, I felt so much peace since moving into this apartment besides the roommate. And I have not.
You wanna know what's crazy is she says she had tenant rights because she's been there 30 days. Yeah, this is why you gotta be careful. Gotta be careful. It's a nice room though. It is.
Not had peace in a very long time, and I've said it in other videos. If I am meant to leave, if there's something better for me out there, I am more than open to it. But I have absolutely no clarity right now. On top of all of this, I am trying to work on another drop for my art shop because I had a whole plan under the assumption that I was going to be living here and just looking for a roommate. Instead, we're almost to the middle of the month. She never sent me photos of her room. She kept procrastinating on that. When I pushed back on her, that was when she changed her mind. And I think that was when I realized, like, oh, were you just not ever looking in the first place? Or you looked for a week and gave up because it was too hard, and so you're just going to over, or worse, us both over if you aren't able to get approved, get another roommate in so that you can renew and we both lose the apartment. I just need to vent and I need to be heard. I literally like feel my body just breaking apart. I'm trying to stay detached and be okay if I don't get to stay here and hope that there's something better for me. I don't know. I'm gonna be living 3 weeks from now because my roommate is being a and changed her mind on me when she said that I was going to stay and renew my lease here for July and she was going to be the one leaving.
This is too much.
I don't know, dude. This has been agonizing. I've moved so many times the last year of living in New York. I'm on my 5th sublet now. And I know the life that I signed up for by being a full-time artist in New York City. Mamdani gave a speech after the Knicks won, and I don't have like all of the words memorized, but he was like, what is New York if not your back is up against the wall, your dream just out of reach? unsure how you'll make your next rent payment and looking at those 99.6% odds that are against you and smiling because in that 0.4%, New Yorkers find a way.
To be fair, I understand she's probably stressed because of the uncertainty with her housing and all these things, and she really loves this apartment, and she's been unstable for about a year, moving 5 times. But watching how she was articulating herself about the roommate, to me, I'm not really understanding like this anger she has towards the roommate, because we seen videos that she posted showing that her roommate was trying to talk, she was trying to handle things with her, and that's where I'm just like, how was this supposed to go? Was it supposed to be smooth? Was this not supposed to be a problem when they're not able to talk like adults? Like, she's sitting on the window pane crying. She doesn't know how she's going to make the rent payments. She just really loves this apartment, and I understand that. There's nothing wrong with her liking where she is, but I also feel she got very attached to this place very fast, and it didn't seem like it was something that was permanent for her, you know, with the sublet. And I understand there was a lot of back and forth about, hey, I'm gonna let you have this place, or maybe her roommate allegedly saying, no, I'm not gonna let you have this place, or I'm gonna have to stay. And I'm not sure why, but nonetheless, I'm just not getting the feeling that she was the permanent tenant. I don't know if she can be because of the sounds of her financial situation. And I could be wrong, but
You know, it's interesting when my new roommate backed out. I feel like 2 weeks ago me would have like broken down in tears, but I think I was expecting it. I wasn't going to be surprised, but also I've just been surrendering. I can't carry it anymore. This is too much for me.
wait, so she was trying to get a new roommate, they backed out. So girl, what are you finna do?
I don't have control of this. I don't have control over the landlords being really or raising the rent without telling me until like Friday. I have no safety net. I don't have family that I can rely on financially. I'm not saying that to garner sympathy either. I'm stating the facts of where I'm at and that my back is literally up against a wall right now.
Ma'am, you might just have to go somewhere else. And I know that would suck for her. Moving, 6 times? But what we're hearing is, in my opinion, you don't got the money. You don't have enough resources. And whatever she's going through right now doesn't have to be permanent. It doesn't have to be permanent. But objectively speaking, you need the money to pay the landlord month after month. Objectively speaking, if you don't come from money, you need to have the money. You need to have, I understand. I get where she's coming from. I don't come from money to nobody. I don't got family. I get it. I really do. But ma'am, you might just have to get up out of there. And how are you sitting in this position comfortably telling us this is an interesting position to sit in. This looks like it will hurt your hip socket and your back. And you just, ma'am.
You know, but one thing that I know for sure is I love New York and I belong here and I'm not going anywhere.
Okay, ma'am, I really am wishing her the best. Yeah, I get kind of nervous when I see people just I don't have the money, I can't afford to be here, I'm just crying, but I'm gonna be here. I truly hope that she is able to figure something out, because I think about the other side of that not happening, and that's a very scary thought. You know, people being on the streets, being in vulnerable situations, because, you know, sometimes people don't know when to say when, to be like, okay, I tried the thing, it's just not working, maybe we just need to go back to the drawing board. And sometimes in life, that's what you have to do. I'm worried about her safety.
I want this to be a win for all of us, because now I know so many of you are invested in this, and I want so badly to get to the end of this and be surprised at a miracle that has come through for me. And
Ma'am, you don't got to do it for us. Do whatever you need to do for you. This is social media. It is never that deep. This is your real life. You are really sitting on this window pane crying in this awkward position, crunched up, trying to figure it out, and that's fine. But tap in to the real life. Don't worry about what social media is saying.
This and be surprised at a miracle that has come through for me, and it be even more than what I could have imagined. Thankfully, what I do feel in my body is a resilience to keep fighting for New York. I'm a part of this, even if I'm not in that crowd. I'm a part of this city. I may not be a true New Yorker because I wasn't born here, but I know I have a New Yorker soul. That's why I feel at home here. Perhaps in a past life I lived here, you know?
Ma'am, please be safe. Please don't pledge your allegiance ever to something so much that you put yourself in the line of fire because of it. And then and if whatever you think you want to pledge your allegiance to, just think about it like this. Would it be allegiant to you? Would whatever, and this goes for anybody and anything, would it pledge its allegiance to you like this? If the answer is no, you might need to reconsider something. At bare minimum, just reconsider some things. I'm not telling nobody what to do, just reconsider. You might love New York. Does New York love you? Is it going to have your back, or are you supposed to have your back?
I don't know what's going to happen, but I can promise you I'll continue to be kind to myself, and I will see you tomorrow.
Part of being kind to yourself is self-care. Ma'am, stay safe. Lord have mercy. Ma'am, they saying, girl, you're in the wrong. I just saw the other roommates POV. Another comment saying, baby, this is not a movie. Go to work. I'm just reading, y'all. Others saying, tearfully quoting, Mondani is killing me. Another saying, rooting against you. Now y'all ain't gotta be nasty and so rude. Another saying, I know I have a New Yorker soul. Please be for real. And this one right here, babe, this ain't going to pay the bills. Wait, what are they talking about? I think they're talking about her art. We never know what her art can do. So I would never say what something can do, because I've seen some interesting things. I will also say there's nothing wrong with doing both. And that might be a great option for her, especially a lot of people trying to get their businesses going or be an entrepreneur. And that sounds like that's what she's trying to be. And there's nothing wrong with that. But it comes with the ups and downs, which is why a job can be very helpful. I would rather encourage people with the knowledge on how they can still do that thing in a safe manner, you know, and then let them decide if it's worth continuing, because that's how entrepreneurship works. I thought they were saying at first these TikTok videos aren't going to pay the rent. Ain't nothing wrong with a job, y'all. Nothing. Others saying she wants us to save her. And I'm wishing the best for everybody who watched this video and got stressed and was trying to understand what the heck is going on, just like I was, because it was a lot. It was a lot. But lessons can still be learned in these situations too. If you are going to move somewhere, y'all, please make sure you have the funds available before moving. I understand that. It's hard times out here for a lot of people. I understand people chasing their dreams too. Things can get really sticky for you once you start hopping from place to place to place to place in an expensive city due to not having steady employment. Just things to think about, y'all. But we got to start making better decisions today in order to have a better future.